and I am here in what is the normal spot where the tables are up, and Sunday mornings it used to be filled with people and good food and wonderful smells of coffee and tea. But that day is coming when that'll happen again, but not for now. So I wanted to share the midweek moment with you today and be in this space, even though it doesn't look like we want it to look. One of the great things that's happened over the last year is it's been used by lots of groups. It has rarely been empty. I had to find a special time on Wednesday to come in when no one else was here. This week we are talking about oil, and there are three things when I think about the oil that we have and that we use in this place and in the kitchen. And it's olive oil most of the time, but that oil that we receive here is, especially in the kitchen or in here when we're having coffee fellowship, really comes down to one thing, and it is the oil of compassion. When we are sitting and listening to one another share life and stories and faith and stories about family and what we've been doing, when we've been listening to someone share about their joys and their sorrows, and when we comfort one another, both in this space and a lot of times in the kitchen, it is a time when we are pouring the oil of compassion over each other and one another. Another kind of oil that we experience in this place is the oil of healing. Again, that comes during coffee hour, during potlucks, during meetings, during Bible study, maybe here in this space, or maybe someone's home, could be the coffee shop or restaurant, could be at a picnic table, on someone's deck, or in a park. This is one of the things that the church does. This is one of the things that this congregation does really well, is to pour the oil of healing, not cure, but healing over each other through prayer requests and staying faithful to what God has called us to be, especially in this last year. So here and in other places, the oil of compassion is poured graciously, abundantly, and lovingly on each other. And the other way of sharing oil comes to us from Isaiah chapter 61. And I'm reading the NIV version. Hear the word of the Lord. The Spirit of the Sovereign Lord is on me, because the Lord has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim freedom for the captives and release from darkness for the prisoners, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor and the day of vengeance of our God, to comfort all who mourn, to provide for those who grieve in Zion, to bestow on them a crown of beauty instead of ashes, the oil of joy instead of mourning, and a garment of praise instead of a spirit of despair. They will be called oaks of righteousness, a planting of the Lord for the display of his splendor. And Isaiah 61 closes with these verses. I delight greatly in the Lord. My soul rejoices in my God. For he has clothed me with garments of salvation and arrayed me with a robe of his righteousness. As a bridegroom adorns his head like a priest, and as a bride adorns herself with her jewels. For as the soil makes the sprout come up, and a garden causes seeds to grow, so the sovereign Lord will make righteousness and praise spring up before all nations. The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. We do give thanks and praise for this building, the space that God has allowed us to serve and minister in all these years. And so we are glad to pour the oil of joy all over everyone who comes and worships here, who comes for a meeting, who comes for a study, or however it is that they come into this building. We pray that God will bless them with the oil of compassion, the oil of healing, and the oil of joy. God bless you and have a good week.